Hello everybody and welcome to Storm Reads, and today I'm going to be giving you the rundown on my September wrap-up. Hello, like I said, I'm going to be doing my September wrap-up, and for the most part it's going to be a Monsterathon wrap-up, but I did read a few other books during the month, so I will put those on at the very end. So I'm just going to show you the book that I read, and then I'll let you know if it belongs in a prompt or not. And so I'm not going to go in order that the prompts were listed for the Monsterathon. I'm just going to go with it, and we'll see how it goes. You can tell I'm tired, so if I get rambly, I'm sorry. I tried to make myself look halfway presentable. Got me some coffee, so yeah. But it's not a good day. I'm tired. I didn't sleep well, but I want to get my wrap up done, so here we are, trying to be all happy and smiley. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so I read Dust Devils by Jonathan Janz, and this is about vampires in the Old West. And it was action-packed, full of blood, guts, and gore, so if you don't like that stuff, you might not enjoy it. I really liked it, but then I like that kind of stuff. And there's not like a giant plot or anything. I mean, basically it's about Cody fighting vampires and trying to save himself and at least some of his family, but things don't always go according to plan. But he tries really hard, and it's, you know, it's a Western, so it's kind of like a historical vampire type. And I liked it. I gave it 4 stars. And this was for Classic Creeper, and it was also for, the Unhaul. We had to read a book for that somebody else had unhauled. My friend unhauled this to me, so I'm counting it as unhauled. And then I read Time Converts. It was a library book, so I had to take it back to the library, but here we go. I read this, and it was pretty good. I gave it 3 stars. It was about Marcus and Phoebe's story. It's a companion novel to the All Souls trilogy by Deborah Harkness, and it wasn't quite as good as the trilogy, but I still liked it. It had dual timelines, present day, and then you go back in time whenever Marcus is talking about his story and how he become a vampire and everything. And so it was good. It just wasn't great. And I used it for, what did I use it for? Oh, What Big Eyes You Have. Read a book over 400 pages. This was 435 pages, I believe. And then I read The Twisted Ones by T. Kingfisher, and this one was pretty good. It was a little boring in spots, and I thought the main character was kind of dumb sometimes, but overall it wasn't too bad. I gave it, I think, 3 or 3.5 stars, somewhere around there. It's about Mouse, who goes to her grandmother's house to clean it out after she died. Her father asked her to do it. And she finds out that her grandmother was a hoarder, and when she's there she finds manuscript or some pages of her stepfather, and about these twisted ones and things out in the woods, and she gets herself into a bit of trouble because, you know, curiosity killed the cat, pretty much is what I'm thinking. And it was okay. And this was for Chimera. Read a book of multiple genres, because it's kind of like, I don't know, supernatural, horror, it's got a little mystery. And then I read My Lovely Wife, sorry about the glare, by Samantha Downing. This was not originally on my TBR list, but it came in from the library, and I'd read some of it, and then I had to let it go back on overdrive, and then I got it back. And so I just decided to continue on with it. And since this one is going for my Real Monsters prompt, read a book with human monsters, and these people were pretty messed up, so I'm gonna count that. It works. It's about a couple who murder. They're pretty much serial murderers. It didn't start out that way, but then they kind of found out they kind of liked it, and they're messed up. And I don't want to say too much because it is a thriller, and I don't want to give away anything. And it's just better if you just read this, not knowing a whole lot about it, and just finding out what happens as you go. It had a few twists. I kind of had it figured out, some of it for the most part, but it was still pretty interesting to figure out, you know, exactly. And the very end, like the very last page, it was kind of like, ugh. So I mean, there was something that you could kind of surprise you. So even if you figure out most of it, I don't think you'll figure out everything. So it was pretty good. Probably gonna give this about 4 stars. Then I read I Hate Fairyland by Scotty Young, and I did this one for the Unsightly Challenge, and that was to read a graphic novel. And this was pretty messed up. It's about this kid there you see on the front, and she gets sucked down to Fairyland, and while she's there she has to try to figure out a way out, and she's obviously not very good at it. And then it's been like, I don't know, like 28 years later, she's still trying to figure out a way out of Fairyland. So she's older in her head, but not in her body, because she still looks like this little kid. So it's pretty messed up. And she is not afraid to kill, maim, do whatever to anybody and everything to just try to find her way out of Fairyland. And so it was pretty funny, pretty messed up, and I really liked the graphics. It was pretty cool. So I'd probably give this about 4 stars, maybe 3-4 stars, somewhere around there. I'm not sure what I gave it. Somewhere around there. I read Magic Breaks with my friend Barb. It's our buddy read. We're trying to finish this whole series before the year's out, and this is number 7. And it was Magic Breaks by Iona Andrews. I don't know if I said that or not. Like I said, I'm tired. My mind is not thinking straight today. But I like this one. I didn't like it quite as much as normal because I will tell you, there wasn't that much Curran in it, and Curran is my favorite character, and it's just not the same whenever he's not in there. I like Cate, don't get me wrong, but Curran, he's my favorite lion, and I just miss him when he's not there. And so this one, Curran is gone at the beginning. He has to go and take care of some things, and so she's in charge of the pack, and some things don't go very well between the pack and the Masters of the Dead. And she has only so much time to figure out who killed one of the Masters of the Dead before there is a war between them and the pack. And it gets pretty intense at times. And I liked it. It was about 4 stars probably, but I didn't like it as much as I liked the other ones because, like I said, no Curran. No Curran. No Curran. No Curran. He does come back at the end, and that makes the ending better. And I read that for my team, which is the Beast, and that was to read a book with animals or plant-like monsters, so shifters works. Then for the Haunts, they were supposed to read a book that was either features a dead or undead, and so I did The Forgotten Child, which is by Melissa Erin Jackson. And it is a ghost story, but it's also a paranormal mystery. And I really enjoyed this. It's about, I think her name was Riley, and she can see ghosts. And she has been able to do that since she was young, but an incident happened whenever she was young. And she kind of got scared off of it, and so she figures it's just better to just ignore the fact that she can see ghosts. Then her friends want to go to this haunted place, and she knows it's a bad idea, but she goes anyway. And so things happen. It's not extremely creepy, but there are some creepy spots. I do recommend this for people who like to read something a little bit spooky during this time of the year, but they don't want to get like extremely scared. I mean, it did have some creepy moments, and a little spooky, but it's not real bad. And it's more of a mystery, like a murder mystery, than it is really spooky, ghosty. And so it's that. and I believe I gave this like 4 stars, and I really like it, and it's first one in a series, so I'm excited to see what's going to happen next with this series. And then the conspiracies, we're supposed to read a book that features like a robot or a creature that you couldn't put in any of the other categories. I was going to read All Systems Red because I know it was about a robot, but I couldn't get it. My friend was going to lend it to me, but she found out it's not lendable on Kindle, and so she suggested that I read this graphic novel. So I've got Saga by, who is it by? Brian K. Vaughan, and the art is by Fiona Staples. And it's pretty messed up too. It's about this couple here and their baby. And I knew it was going to be pretty messed up and weird whenever the first scene is her delivering her baby. So, yeah, that's pretty messed up. But I liked it. I guess that means I like messed up things because, you know, I liked it. And I guess they're not supposed to be together because they're like 2 different factions or 2 different species, and they're not supposed to be together. And so now they're on the run and people are wanting to kill them. It was pretty much what was going on through the whole thing. And it was okay. About 3 stars maybe. I read The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein. And this one was for read a book that was recommended to me, and I've had a couple of friends tell me that they really liked this and enjoyed it, so I thought I would give it a try. I did listen to this one on audio, and it was pretty good. It was actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. You know, it's the story of Elizabeth Frankenstein, who is brought into the Frankenstein household whenever she is a young girl. Mostly she is there to keep Victor Frankenstein company, because he's just, they know there's something wrong with the boy, and they needed somebody to keep him company. And it's, you know, about her and her trying to always make excuses for the strange things that he does, and then when she really finds out exactly how he is in the end, and he's really messed up. He is. But we all know that if we've read Frankenstein, we know that Victor Frankenstein is a pretty messed up kind of guy. And so I liked it. It was pretty good. I give this one 3 stars, 3.5 stars maybe, somewhere around there. It was good. And then for the Monsterathon, there was the group read, and the group read was to read a short story out of the book Unnatural Creatures. That was stories put together by Neil Gaiman, and I don't have a picture of it, so I'll put one here. But the Beast had to read The Griffin and the Minor Canon, and it was okay. It's about a griffin who wants to go into this town, and he meets the canon, or the minor canon, which is I don't know, kind of like a priest or something back in that day, because it's like from a long time ago. And the villagers are scared of him, and the griffin's not really scary, but I don't know, it was okay. I'm never really big on short stories, but I did read the other ones. The Spot was for conspiracies, and it was probably my least favorite one out of all of them, and it was about this spot, and if you didn't watch it, the spot moved and it grew. It was kind of weird, but I didn't really like it. And then Come Lady Death was the one for the haunts, and it was about a lady who's having a party, and she always has these extravagant parties, and she decides she wants to invite death to her party. And I kind of had a feeling I knew exactly how it was going to go towards the end, and that's the way it went. And it was okay. I probably liked that one more than I did the one that I had to read for the Beast. But all in all, they were just okay, and I'm not really big on short stories. I didn't even finish the book. I just read the 3 stories that I had to, and then let it go back to the library. So total, I did pretty good. I got all of my prompts, everything read that I wanted to read, even if I had to change up my TBR. And I terrorized 5,314 villages. So I think overall I did pretty good with my challenge, and I'm happy with it. And so now I'm going to talk about the 4 books that I read that have nothing to do with the Monsterathon. So those were Fatal Cajun Festival by Ellen Byron. This is number 5 in the Cajun Mystery Cozy series. Cajun country mysteries, cozy mystery series. I cannot speak today for some reason. Anyway, this one is one of my favorite series, and this one is about a music festival, and one of the girls that's at the music festival used to be a hometown girl, but now she's like a superstar, and she thinks she's a little bit above everybody else. And there's this one lady, Gaynell, and she is just as good a singer as she was, but she just never got that momentum to go and do the big fancy superstar type thing. She just sings around town. But Tammy, the superstar, has always been a bit jealous of her and kind of does things to her that makes her mad. And one of the things is she told her that she would get her agent to talk to her. Well, then her and the agent don't see eye to eye on a few things, and then he ends up dead. So of course Gaynell is going to be the suspect, and that is Maggie's best friend, and so she's going to do what she can to figure out who is the one that killed him. He was not a nice person. And of course her boyfriend Beau, who is the detective, is also on the case, and it's really good. It's my favorite little dog there. This is Gopher, and he is so cute. I love him. Anyway, this one gets 4 stars. Then I listened to a book that has 3 short stories in it, and it was called The Bakeshop at Pumpkin and Spice, and the authors were Donna Kaufman, Kate Engel, and Allison Charles. And they are all just 3 short romantic stories about this little bake shop here, and it's kind of, I guess you'd call it magical realism maybe, because the lady who does the baking in this shop, she puts a little magic into her baked goods, and so it helps bring your true loves together. So each story was pretty good. The first one was probably my least favorite. I liked the last 2 more. They were really cute. I can't off the top of my head remember what they were and who did which, but they were cute. And this is a good way to decide, like, I've never read these authors before, and so it's a good way to decide if I would like to read an actual romance, like a big romance one from them, and which I probably would. I did, like I said, enjoy all 3 of them, and I give this whole book probably about 4 stars, I believe I did. And so if you like romance and you like your romance with a little bit of magic, I would recommend this. Then I read a really strange short one from Tor. I got this for review from Macmillan Audio, and it was really, really weird. And honestly, I couldn't really tell you what the plot of it was, but it was really strange, and I enjoyed it because it was strange. And that would be The Monster of Ellenhaven by Jennifer Gesbrecht. I know I'm not saying that right anyway. But it's about this little guy here, and he decided to name himself, what was it, Johann. And he goes around killing people with his little handy-dandy knife he's got there. And then one day he meets a guy, and I can't remember his name, but he's a wizard. And the wizard kind of makes him his, like, henchman or whatever. And they just do some weird and strange things. And to be honest, I don't know any much more than that. I just know that I liked it. It was weird and it was strange. But it's not an extremely memorable book. And so I probably give it about 3 stars. But I did like it while I was listening to it. It's just been too long since I listened to it, and now I can't remember a whole lot about what it was about. Anyway, if you like strange, quirky little books, it's a good one. And then I read A Rule Against Murder by Louise Penny. This is number 4 in the Chief Inspector Gamache series. And in this one, the Chief Inspector and his wife are on holiday, and they're celebrating their anniversary when the place where they're at, there's another group, a family group there, and One of them is murdered, and then he ends up having to investigate and brings in the rest of his team. And they're not very far from Three Pines, but it doesn't happen exactly in Three Pines, but you do get some of the characters from Three Pines, because Peter is one of the family members, and so then you get Claire also, and Claire's really messed up, kind of strange person, and so is Peter. And I don't like a whole lot of the characters that are in Three Pines, but they're always kind of interesting. I like this series because it is pretty character driven, and I do like the storyline with the Chief Inspector. I do believe I like the first 3 better than I did this one, and it's probably because of the politics that went into it that aren't so much in this one and everything. I did listen to this one, and as well as the other 2. I forgot to say, I don't remember if I said, but I did like the narrator of this one and all the other ones too. And I wish I would have wrote down who the narrators were, because I never can remember, so I might just put those down at the bottom so everybody knows. I apologize, I am so tired. Sorry about that. But I did really like this one. The family, it was a rich family, and they were messed up. They had a lot of secrets and lies and everything, and so it was pretty messed up. But of course, you know, Inspector Gamache gets to it in the end and figures the murderer out. And I do feel sorry for this one child whose name was Bean. Who would name your kid Bean? That's just wrong. It's just not right. But anyway, I would probably give this 3.75, maybe 4 stars. I didn't like it. And there you have it. That is everything that I read in September, wrapping up the Monsterathon and the extra books that I did manage to fit in. I read 13 books, so I think I did pretty good. And hope you liked this video. And I'm sorry I was so tired and kind of rambly. But if you liked it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And I'll see you all next time. Bye.